And we are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. I am Aaron, aka the Handy Outdoor Nerd, and this sexy gentleman down below is...
I'm Chris, aka MrCarrellScience. How's everybody doing?
And this wonderful gentleman over here, as you all might know, is Joe, aka JMT.
Hi.
So Joe and I actually live in the same state. So he lives up north and I live down south.
Go Missouri. Misery loves company. I mean, Missouri loves company.
Both are true. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
It looks like it's being transported.
Like he's about to take a drink and it just gets stolen out of his hand.
Yep. Darn Romulans.
All right, so Joe, you've been doing something with a bunch of other makers up there in Independence.
Yes. Not just Independence, the entire Kansas City metro. We've been jumping on the train of printing out the Prusa style PPE Face Shield for local hospitals and clinics who are, getting impacted by the shortage.
Yeah.
Actually got mine here. I'll put it on.
Oh, there you go.
So this is the shield. And so it, believe it or not, this is like one of the most needed items right now, other than like the N95 face mask. Yeah. Those are harder to come by than the shields, but we are able to 3D print the shields. We're still working on designs for the masks. But yeah, we're a coalition that's at least 50 makers strong right now. We've got about 300 of the masks printed. Our main focus right now is on smaller institutions, clinics, care facilities, nurses who are traveling, having to go from clinics, and so they're the ones who cannot get their hands on this stuff to save their lives because it's all sold out. So right now that's our main focus, and then we're also receiving orders for the big boys, but we have a different design that's completely laser cut out of the PETG sheets for them, and we can mass produce those and get like 3,000, 5,000 orders out like that. So
nice.
Yeah, it's very tiring, but well worth it.
Oh yeah. I've only got one working printer right now, which would be this one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's big enough for the face masks itself. It's not big enough for the actual shield parts. So, and I got that not that long ago. So, and I actually just found out about some local guys that are actually printing masks, donating them. So,
yeah, it's kind of amazing, like just how the 3D printing community has kind of answered this proverbial call for this. It's obviously Joe Prusa kind of spearheaded it with his massive print farm over in the Czech Republic.
Oh yeah.
But at that point, I didn't think that we would need that in the U.S. because I was like, oh, we're the U.S. We've got all of the supplies we need, but obviously we don't. So
yeah.
I originally started printing these things out to send over to California to send to the Pooch, aka Repcord.
Yep.
Me and him have been friends forever, and when he put out the call that he needed them, I was like, yeah, I'll start cranking these out. And then my buddy Lewis contacted me, and he works for Ultimaker here in Kansas City, and he was like, I've been getting local requests for these. We need to do something about it. And I was like, I had no idea. I was like, yeah, well, we're going to shift. We're going to take care of Kansas City. So, and we're also taking care of Missouri in general. Like, we've got masks that are being put together and getting ready to go down to Bolivar.
Yeah, and Bolivar is like 30 minutes away from me, so.
Yeah, and I used to live there. I had 2 surgeries over at CMH.
I've had several surgeries over there. I've had technically 2, but I've also had some scar tissue removed from some of that. So Yeah,
good old Tylenol assist. Yeah, so that's pretty much consuming all my free time. You know, obviously the current environment and the work from home stuff is lending to the ability to be able to concentrate on this more than I normally would with my 9-to-5 job. I'm a network administrator for a library district up here, Mid-Continent Public Library. We have like, how many? We've got 32 branches, and I'm in charge of the network for all of it. So that's a full-time job.
Yeah.
But all of them are shut down right now. I guess. So that's you know, between taking care of random things that happen there, like we had a storm last night pass through that knocked out a couple of branch Wi-Fi, and we still got parking lot Wi-Fi for EMS and for, you know, patrons who have that the technological gap where they don't have internet at home, but they do have a device that they can access internet with. So
Right. Yeah. That's actually a big problem with our school district right now, is we have students that simply don't have access to the technology. So we've been asked not only to somehow develop an online curriculum for our classes, even if that means that, I mean, some of our classes are just not designed. But I feel bad for the choir teacher, the band director. I mean, how do you teach that from home? How do you teach that online? That's just, you know, I don't envy their job. But they're really, really smart people, wonderful people, so I'm sure they're able to figure it out. But you know, we've also been asked to create a secondary assignment that's like a send home assignment in a packet, so that those students that aren't able to use some sort of device at home, or there are some families that, I mean, some families have one computer and 6 kids that are all in school. And so, you know, you're in a situation like that where you got 6 kids that are all trying to do online classes at the same time, and it's impossible. It's impossible.
Oh yeah. Yeah, my wife has done some at-home stuff this week with hers because she's a speech therapist. So they've had to do teletherapy. So that's been an interesting setup for that. But yeah, no, you guys have the stay-at-home order right now going on up there, don't you?
yes, we do.
Ours was just issued technically Friday morning at midnight.
Are you in Greene County?
I am in Greene County.
That's kind of late because you guys are kind of running. You guys are only second to like St. Louis County.
Yeah, so.
I mean, Jackson County really, we don't have all that many current cases. I've been kind of keeping tabs on Missouri to see where need would be. Bing has a really good. I never thought I'd ever say those two words together.
I don't think anybody ever thought that.
Yeah, but they do have a really good live coronavirus map and it even breaks it down by county if you type in your state.
Wow.
So you get a map of Missouri, gets all the county outlines. You got your gradient of red depending on the amount of confirmed cases.
Yeah.
And St. Louis is like right.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah.
That's where you guys. But yeah, I feel like Greene County just kind of went from, 0 to 60 overnight almost. It was like, oh, we have 2 cases. Oh, we have 30. Oh, we have 60.
Yeah, and we've had. So I work in broadcast television, as I normally say whenever I go to talk about stuff. So I don't watch a lot of TV after I'm home. I get bombarded with, a lot of political stuff, and then obviously this COVID-19 stuff, always like in my face. So last thing I want to do is deal with stuff like that. And whenever I see this constantly on my shifts for 8 hours, I try not to do that. But I think the last, there was 3, maybe 4 deaths, and they were all old women from the same like retirement facility.
Yeah.
Should have ate the fish tank cleaner.
And so they had actually, said places like case number 18. Well, because you've lived down here, so you know Black Sheep, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of them had gone to Black Sheep, and then like there's all these different Walmarts and like 6 places, I think. I was just like, oh, good Lord. Like you were infected and you're going to all these places, and then if you cough or get anything on something, someone else touches that, they get it, that goes to somebody else, and it just keeps spreading.
Oh yeah.
So
It's got about a 2 to 3 day life cycle on most surfaces, from what I know. I know for plastics, because that's something that we're making sure to do, is to once we get them complete, these shields bagged, we let them sit for 3 days before we distribute, just to make sure.
oh yeah.
We also disinfect the ever living snot out of them.
Oh yeah. I bet you love the Clorox you feel your hands after that.
I wear gloves and I use 99% iso alcohol.
Okay, well that's even better. But
in a spray bottle, just
that makes it so much faster. But yeah, the well, even just clean surfaces, like at my work, we clean the surfaces, and obviously if you don't have gloves on, you're using your hands for wiping the surfaces down. And after I wipe the surfaces down, I actually go and wash my hands after the fact. One, I don't like the Clorox wipes on my hand, but
you get chemicals on your hands.
Oh yeah. So you got all that chemicals, and some people will be like, oh well, it's gonna keep clean. No, well, you get the chemicals, they're gonna absorb into your skin, and then you got to deal with that. But the soap actually kills it a lot better because it sets on that oil on your skin, and you're washing that off. So hand sanitizer helps to an extent, but washing your hands is a lot better to help prevent. So I constantly wash my hands.
Yeah. The other thing about washing hands versus hand sanitizer is, so the actual coronavirus is comprised of a lipid bilayer that is made out of a fatty acid, and so soap breaks down the fatty acid really easily, and then it actually traps the little parts of the virus that go and attach off to cells. So it's like 10 times better than using sanitizer. It just washes away, and then the soap on your hands, like you said, it creates like a protective layer just for a little bit, but until, it's wash your hands. 20 seconds, way better than anything else you can do for this.
Yep. And the thing is, like, if you use your Clorox wipes, you wipe the surfaces down and you don't like wring them out. You make sure it's wet for a while. Actually, read the directions on the bottle. It tells you, coat it, let it set for several minutes. It's got to stay wet, and there you go. So you need a new Clorox wipe for pretty much every single thing you wipe down. So
we had some natural ones for a while. I forgot what it was some, organic natural wipes that we were trying out because we didn't want to use harsh wipes around the kid. It was wipe down the surface and leave it wet for 10 minutes.
Oof.
I was like, how do I leave it wet for 10 minutes? It's just drying like after 6.
Just like,
do I have to re-wipe it?
Yeah. I mean, pretty much that's how I think you'd have to do it. But
lavender and sage can only go so far.
This is very true.
Aaron, what's the name of that? Those natural cleaning products, that box that you and I both found out we use? Grove.
Yep.
Is that what it is that you were using?
Yeah, that's
it was something way more less mainstream. Like, it's like, I don't know where my wife found it. It's amazing though. It just didn't work.
Well,
and it smelled terrible.
We've got some other cleaning supplies not from Grove, word's out. I don't know where my wife got them, but we do grow up mostly for certain things. That's where we get our soap from, and it's where we get our toilet paper. So we don't go out and buy toilet paper really. So, which is
Up
it's kind of
until up until recently, we just TP'd from Amazon.
funny. Yeah.
I mean, it was just like, why not? Can you just have it delivered to the door? And it's just, we actually have all of our groceries delivered now. Our grocery stores are madhouses. Yeah, it's not like a price cutter. It's like
Yeah.
up here, it's like everything is. There is absolutely no situational or spatial awareness when people are at the grocery store.
Oh yeah. Oh.
It's amazing to see like how the human brain just blocks out everything except self when you're at the grocery store. You can stand in the middle of a grocery store and everyone else is like an island. They think they're the only person in the grocery store. They're making turns without any considerations. It's just, I really think some really cool studies like could be done in a grocery store on human behavior.
Oh, I agree. It's a bit crazy.
Especially right now. I mean, right now, yeah, it's a big deal, but it's not, punch an old lady out for a roll of toilet paper big deal.
It was there for a bit.
Well, yeah.
It shouldn't be. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, it shouldn't be. Yeah, definitely not. There was a lot of videos that were hitting the internet of people like wrestling for the last thing of toilet paper on the shelf at a grocery store. It's like, it's toilet paper.
Yeah,
I mean,
I saw a meme the other day that was like, it was a picture of a virus and he was all sad and he was like, I tried to infect someone, but they had toilet paper.
yeah. Did you see the someone posted a picture and it said the ribbon for COVID-19 and it was just a toilet paper ribbon?
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's perfect. And someone actually uploaded a model of a roll of toilet paper.
I know. Oh my gosh, I've seen people printing that out on all the 3D printing groups. It's just like, why are you printing that out?
Because it's the latest thing to print out.
Do you guys know Neri's, Chris Taylor?
Chris,
Today's 3D print, right? So, so he supersized the toilet paper model and
as
made
he does with everything.
Oh yeah, of course. And he made it a toilet paper revolver that holds toilet paper rolls, and so it holds something like 18 rolls of toilet paper or something like that, and it's like it turned it into like a stool. That's like a stool that you keep in your bathroom that has a lid that you lift off of it, and it's got toilet paper rolls that slide down in like the barrels of a revolver. Yeah.
That's funny.
He would do that. That sounds about right.
That's funny.
Oh.
All right, Chris. So what is this thing that you have shared?
Oh, so See Me CNC actually, they created a injection molding platform for those face shields.
Yeah.
For the shields, and so they're able to pump them out like super fast. I can't remember exactly what the post said, so if you want to pull it up, I'll show you. So you can see in the video, I mean, they're able to pop out at like 3 or 4 of them all at the same time, but it only takes a few seconds to make them through injection molding.
Wow.
So they created the mold, and then I think it says, if I scroll down just a little bit,
Steve.
Yeah, of course, right? It says, let's see, more than 6,000 brackets in less than a week.
Oh, good grief! That's
all from his one machine. More than 6,000 brackets done in less than a week.
Which is a crazy like paradigm shift, because for the longest time we thought that the the actual brackets themselves would be the holdup because we were 3D printing them, and we thought, we could get the face shields a lot quicker because it's like 18 seconds to cut a shield with all the proper holes and everything. And now it's the shields that are actually slowing us down.
Well, it's trying to find the material, isn't it?
Yeah, we're running out of bulk PTG film because we need the either 0.02 or 0.03 bulk film. Our supplier here in Kansas City is actually, he had a source, had a bead on a huge supply of it. And then someone just came in right underneath him and like, I don't know, bribed the right people and just got it. So that's getting ridiculous. We're actually looking at using like Xray film for it. Everything for Xray film, transparency sheets, laminate sheets, anything that would work as a shield. We're exploring those options.
Yeah.
I think we've got like 1,000 pounds of Xray film or something like that that's going to be heading our way. It's so thin. It's thinner than paper.
Wow.
So I don't know how that's going to hold up. It might be like we attach that to the PLA prints because PLA is not really the best material for these. So no, just kind of like use it a couple times and toss it. I hate that, but it's the reality of the situation.
The Xray film is thinner than paper?
Yeah.
See, because maybe we're thinking of different things, but when I was younger, to make a long story short, I have this thing in my brain that it's not really a tumor, but if it grows, I could die. So I've had to get like a ton of like X-rays, and I have a whole package of X-rays from that, but I always thought they were thicker than that.
All right, you guys. I don't know if you guys if you've heard of this, but are you ready for this? What car manufacturers are doing that they've been given the go for?
Oh, I saw that.
Huh.
So Ford, General Motors, and Tesla have been given the go-ahead to make ventilators. So they're converting their facilities over to make ventilators. So their production line, and the thing is, the wonderful thing about having an automated system like that, all you've got to do is tell your robots to do certain things, and you can change it to what it's doing. So that's what they're doing.
Oh yeah, they can switch it like that, and instantly they're making tons more than we us small time printers could even imagine.
But yeah, so they are going through and just making ventilators, just pumping them out. And if you think a ventilator compared to a car, it's going to be manufactured a whole lot faster than a car would be, because there's going to be less to it than that.
Yes, I don't remember where I heard it, but there was something like they only make a set amount of ventilators a year. Like the companies that make them, they only make like this set amount per year, and hospitals only order like a set amount per year. And so the companies never really keep any kind of a huge back stock of ventilators.
Yeah.
So yeah, when stuff like this hits, it's like, well, we have like 5 extra for replacing bad ones.
Yeah. And did you guys watch the Joe Telling video about the 3D printed pieces that they've been doing?
Oh yeah.
Was it like the little valves or whatever? And I mean, yes, it's like $1,100 a pop originally.
Mm-hmm.
But if they've got the patent, you're infringing on the patent, even though it's for a good cause. It's part of the problem. And like, I understand, I'm all for doing printing like that to help but you are infringing on their patent, and they have the rights to sue you for it.
So
Unfortunately, they can, but I wish they would not do that.
So I'm like a pretty diehard libertarian when it comes to like government interfering with capitalistic and or anywhere, government interfering at all.
Yeah.
But I think like now that we've seen like something come along that is in the realm of what the government exists to actually, mediate and facilitate, I think it should be along the lines of like, if there's a patent on this, but a national state of emergency has been declared, and someone else can provide these and it's needed and you can't keep up capacity.
Oh yeah,
then
that was a big part of the problem is they couldn't keep up capacity on that.
Yeah, then I think at that point, then it should like not necessarily nullify the patent, but there should be a temporary patent lift, and be like, listen, we need them. It's a national emergency. We're going to open this design up. We know you have a patent on it. As soon as the national emergency is lifted, the patent is restored, and anyone else who produces after the national emergency, you can go to town on it. But during the national emergency, we need all hands on deck.
Well, yeah.
Intellectual property is big. I get that.
Yeah.
But let me ask this question, because this is actually a good question. I'm glad that you brought this up. So, because I fully agree that we should do anything and everything in our power to help to, provide some relief for what we've got. But let's just say that these car manufacturers start pumping out ventilators, right? Now, let's say over the course of the next, I don't know, say 4 weeks. Okay, let's say that this is a national crisis that lasts for another month. Over the next 4 weeks, they're able to pump out, over 1 million ventilators. Then the weather starts to get warm and the virus starts to die out. The need for them goes way down, and suddenly the United States has a surplus of 750,000 ventilators that we don't need. What happens then to the company that produce ventilators? Because now this whole thing is over, and their company's out of business for the next 5 years because America simply doesn't need ventilators anymore.
Yeah. So the question that I would pose at that point is, what do you trust more? And this is the argument that I've always put towards musical instruments. So Yamaha makes guitars and makes drum kits.
Mm-hmm.
They also make, the Banshee motor. They make motorcycles. They make everything. So if I'm looking at a drum kit, and I'm looking at a Yamaha drum kit, and I'm looking at a DW Drumworks Shop drum kit, which is a company that only makes drum kits, and that's their specialty, I'll probably go with the DW kit. I know that a specialty shop will be able to do what I want better than a company that does everything. With that being said, I think the surplus of ventilators, I think you'll see the ones that were produced by the car manufacturers kind of being almost decommissioned after this is over, just because it was produced by a car manufacturer and not by a company that specializes in ventilators. It got us through the hump, and it got us through the bad times, but I think hospitals will want what's tried and true and trusted from the company that they're used to purchasing from. And I think they'll probably just be like, yeah, we don't want to use the ones that came from GM. We want to use the ones that came from our good source who has been doing this for, decades. So
yeah.
That's my take on it. We'll see how it actually plays out. I mean, obviously, you never know. Money and greed is definitely prevalent in the medical industry. So it could be that they hold on to all these ventilators and they're like, we don't need to buy ventilators for 10 years.
Yeah.
So
And I have a tendency to agree with you. And I used to feel very strongly the same way until I saw people getting in fights and trying to stab each other over stinking toilet paper on the shelf. And so if something as silly as toilet paper, when you can go to the hardware store, spend $10 and make yourself a makeshift bidet,
mm,
you know, I just don't know what's going to happen with the whole ventilator situation because I feel bad for those companies that could potentially be out of business because of what's going on.
I always like the Men in Black quote: "The person is smart. People are panicky, dumb, and stupid."
Yep.
And that's
I've
exactly
actually
what
made that. I've actually made that quote so many times.
Yeah. So
in
once the
past
group
couple weeks.
think machine ramps up and gets going, you see that's the thing with social media is once you see a bunch of people start hoarding toilet paper, you're like, oh my gosh, I need to start hoarding toilet paper. I don't know why, but I need to. So it's like, is there something about this that I need to know? Did I miss something? So, it's always that.
You might get toilet paper.
Yeah, it's called it's FOMO, fear of missing out. So everyone else is buying toilet paper, so I must need toilet paper. It's hardwired into our brains.
Yeah.
It's the same thing like before a snowstorm, everyone goes and buys bread and milk. It's like, why? I don't drink that much milk, and bread's like, okay, I'm going to go buy all the frozen pizzas. You guys stick to your breads and milk.
Yeah. While you guys are stuck having toast, I'm going to be having frozen pizzas.
Mm-hmm. Me and Tony are going to have a good time while you and Sarah Lee do whatever you're doing with
me and Tony
Highland or whatever your local dairy company of choice would be.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law actually works for Highland in Springfield.
Oh, nice.
Bunk Carney. So I can't speak too bad about milk.
Oh, that's a bit funny.
It looks like you got that mini kind of behaving.
Yeah.
What's that?
So it looks like you got the mini behaving.
It's kind of behaving. I bought a new board for it, and it's a quiet board, and so the stepper motors are super quiet. But I've been having a heck of a time with the hot end. It clogs frequently, and it doesn't like to stay level. And so I'm working on trying to find a fix for that. I've exhausted all my creative juices on fixing this thing so far. So I just need a little break from, I don't know, I need to give it a nickname. But
so I ended up putting stiffer springs on mine and putting a piece of cork board underneath the bed. And then I leveled it down onto the cork board until it was level. And after that, I really hardly ever had to touch it. And the hot end, I think I replaced with an all metal hot end.
I have an all metal, but the setup that I have with these fans, I don't know if the fans are if they're just not blowing hard enough or what, but the all metal, I was getting a lot of jams. It was getting stuck in the all metal throat, and so so I actually had to replace that with one that was PTFE lined, and that seemed to solve the problem. I've gotten a few prints out of it with the PTFE lined hot end throat.
So you think the heat creep is killing you?
Yeah, I think that with the all metal, there was too much heat creep, and maybe there is going to be quite a bit with the PTFE line as well. I just haven't noticed it as much because it's kind of one of those, like, it's lasted longer than the other one did. It'll eventually still give me issues with it. But right now it's just the first layer. I've been really having a lot of issues fighting with it to stick. The first layer won't stick. The bed's not super level. I've replaced it with I've put a piece of glass on it before. The problem is I have to crank the screws down so far to get the glass to fit on there. And taking this thing apart to move the end stop is a just pain in the butt because there's like 8 million screws on the top and the bottom. You got to basically disassemble the entire printer just to get access to this one panel. So.
Oh yeah, that was.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's slightly safer for kids, I guess, but it's not overall my favorite printer. But I bought it because of the form factor. It's such a small area that it takes up, and I can keep it.
Good to go.
What's that?
It's good to go. I used to travel around a lot with mine and just have it, like if I went to a hotel when I traveled for work a long time ago, I would take my mini and print in the hotel room because I got bored. I mean, it's like, that's what I kind of am doing with this one. So it's on a bare frame, but I've got a handle on it. And so I can just kind of pick it up and carry it around. It's super light. It's got a remote power supply. So it doesn't have the power supply on the side like traditional Cruisers. It actually uses this ginormous power brick. Nice. So it travels really well. This is actually a Meanwell power brick.
Okay.
Yeah. So
this one uses the power brick too. So.
Oh yeah. The power brick for the Mini is almost as big as the one for this Fascia. But, so after using that, I think I might get a couple more of those Meanwell bricks and take the power supplies off of the ones that I at least have on the bare frames. Like on my MK3, the power supply actually adds rigidity. I know I can print something to mitigate that, but like I've got a couple of bears on the extrusion frames here that don't need the rigidity of the power supply. So it'd be nice to have the power supply elsewhere.
Yeah.
Completely understandable on there. Yeah. So, I mean, my quietest one would be my flashboard finder.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the fan. Fan's not the quietest part.
I don't know if you guys can hear this at all right now.
I can.
I mean, I can hear the fan because, and if I stop the fan, it's like dead silent. But the fan is, the loudest part. And I need to grease the bearings. I haven't greased the bearings. So, but I've got some tube grease that I'll put on these rods and slide it around. That should quiet those down a little bit. But I mean, it's a lot quieter than it was with the old board. That's for sure.
Yes.
So what board did you end up putting in it?
It's one that was made for the monoprice Mini V1 and V2. I think it was called My Car board. It was a custom. I think it's a custom board that's specifically designed for this printer because I didn't have to flash anything on it. It was literally just plug it in. It fit on the same standoffs, and then just started printing right away. It was really cool. I got it from Gig Digit.
Gig Digit, UI control board, monoprice. UI controller board, MP Mini V2. This looks like a stock. Ooh, they have bed insulation. That's nice.
That's awesome.
They got a whole bunch. I've never looked at Big Digit's mini offerings.
Yeah, that's where I got it from. It was expensive.
Of course.
Yeah, that's how they all go. My Kitty Tech, I need to actually replace my main board on it. My main board's fried for it. And the funny thing is, I spent $60 on this guy. on my Flash Forge Finder
Go ahead and brag, Aaron.
off of Facebook Marketplace. To fix this is going to cost me almost $90.
That sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's going through Key Detect to get a new board and another part for it. So just the one part that I was going to be getting for the hot end is $20 itself. So it's $55 for the main board, which isn't bad, especially if I don't have to flash the firmware. Compared to Chris's like $80 he had to pay for just his main board.
Yeah.
So
You want to pop this screen up real quick, Aaron?
yep. There you go.
This is the board that I got for it.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now.
That's not too
$60,
bad.
but I mean it's super quiet. I didn't have to do anything to it, and it even had the most updated firmware for that was compatible with my LCD panel. Everything, it was super easy to install.
Oh, it's got CMC 2208s. Okay, that's why it's quiet.
Yeah, it's super quiet. Honestly, really, really quiet.
Oh man, I can't spend any more money. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
super
David.
quiet.
If I can't print a face shield on it, I can't spend money on it right now. That's basically. I gotta keep beating that into my brain.
I understand that completely.
Aaron, how's your ANET working? Is it still working?
Yes and no. So it stopped heating the hot end, so I don't know if there is something wrong with the hot end itself, like the actual wiring whenever this would happen. And so I think it's just the main board itself. So I did get the new board flash, but it was giving me problems. So I'm going to have to I'm going to have to take my Arduino and actually wipe that out because it won't let me reflash it again. So that's the only problem I have. And I may end up just turning it into a Core XY. That way I don't have to worry about reconfiguring the actual setup for the stepper motors. And then I can have it set up for
AM8.
Got cat hair all up in my grill. I'm gonna cough up a hairball.
It's good for the views, Joe. Do it for the YouTubes.
I've done too much stuff for the YouTubes. For the Friday 3D printing hangout thing, the Friday night thing, I used to do it from the hot tub or from our hot tub. I'm not doing that crap anymore. I'm 36 and I'm growing up past the hot tub or YouTube. I'm not. Our hot tub's just full of laundry and I can't do it right now.
You use the hot tub to relax all the sore muscles and achiness that you get when you get old, you know?
Yeah, but do I really want people watching me while I do it? That's the question now. Would they enjoy watching me do it? Would be another question.
Some people would.
That's scary to me.
Yes, I'm not one of those people, so I just like don't.
I mean, I'm not saying I would have signed on to watch that. I'm just saying.
Well,
In the hot tub with Joe. No, I'm good.
pretty much is what it boiled down to for a while.
No, that's funny.
Oh, this is getting crazy. So we've got like so much back end. Like I never ever thought that what I'm doing right now would blow up to the scale that it currently is at. Like it's to the point to where we've had to like we've broken off into roles now. So the admins now have specific roles. Like we have a maker coordinator, we have a project manager, we have basically a CTO. I'm basically taking the director role, communications director. It's just really amazing how like all this has just over the last 5 days just kind of coalesced into being what it is. But I say that because I'm like looking at all the various crap that we've set up. Like we're using Monday to coordinate the makers. We're using Microsoft Teams for back channel communication.
Wow.
And so it's like just going through all of them, like this is way more than I ever thought I would need to just print a couple of these and send them off to California.
Right.
But I'm so great. It's so great that we have it because, I mean, we would be a hot mess if we were still trying to coordinate all this through Facebook Messenger.
I mean, it's having too much help is kind of a good problem, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and we still technically we don't have enough help. It was, you know, for what we're trying to do now, the more the merrier. It was just getting it organized into a structure there that would be efficient and wouldn't be just chasing our own tails or trying to herd cats.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, if I can get my MBot up and going,
Mm-hmm.
I will. MBot. Have you ever read Skyward?
No.
It's a great book. You should read it. MBot is the ship. Also, I got that from Eddie Moser, so it's also got the Moser bot as a nickname as well.
You bought that from Eddie?
No, he gave it to me.
Okay. He's such a good guy.
Oh yeah, no, he was up down in Arkansas, and I went and met him, and we went and ate lunch and just talked 3D printing.
Oh yeah.
So
when I was helping Pooch with the rep box, because I was trying to do the rep rewind filament rewinders for his box, and we were at Nerf last year, and Eddie was helping in our booth as well, and
nice.
They were like, we can build a rail core in a couple of hours. And I was like, the people who designed it and make them every day can't build them under 17 hours. And you think you can do it in 6? Good luck, Eddie.
So Josh is in comments. He goes, I may have popped into the wrong stream. Hey, Josh, how's it going?
Hi, Josh.
So... all right, did I get that sliced and tossed onto there?
We've raised $4,585 on our GoFundMe.
Oh wow!
And I'm going to throttle GoFundMe because they haven't released my funds yet.
Oof, that's
like they put them on hold because everyone's standing up a fund relief for something related to this virus. So they're checking each one of them personally.
I can understand that.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, look at the donations on this. If you look at the donations, it's not like, you know, I'm just some guy trying to rip people off. It's like a legitimate thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, please let me have the money so I can buy material and do what I told these people I'd do for them. But, you know, they got to do what they do, I guess. Just ticking me off. But I digress. Oh, yeah. Of course.
Look at him. I'm over here, got my printer working, and now he's like, "Oh, I got to get my stuff going too."
Hold on.
Look at that guy. Well, I better start a print too. Everyone else is doing it.
I haven't done anything with this one yet, but I will make it auto home real quick. Here it goes. Here it goes. Oh. Is it going to stop? Is it going to stop? Is it going to stop? Is it going to stop?
Maybe.
Success.
Look at that. What do you know?
I got to say, I am like incredibly impressed with the E3D Chimera.
Yeah.
It's a really slick system. It's so tight form factor. and it just is it's very
E3
pretty.
not a sponsor, but we'd like you to be. So if you guys are watching, hit us up.
Sanjay, sponsor these guys, please.
I'd totally take an E3D.
You owe me like 2 at this point, so sponsor them. I swear, like 2 Murphs in a row, I have like had parts that E3D needed because they didn't come in from England with them on time. So they were like running around with their heads like in a span. They're like, you don't by chance have spare bolts and parts? I'm like, I always carry around my parts with me. And so they're like, oh, no. I'm like, yeah,
That's funny.
I'm gonna cash them in someday, Claire. I'm coming, Claire.
That's funny.
And Sanjay always looks like he's in the wind. Did you ever notice that?
Yes.
Always looks like he's in the wind. So I don't know what they've got at E3D, but it's like just in the back. Strong draft in the back of the room.
He's probably go so much, and he finally just crashes, and his hair just gets stuck that way.
Yeah.
That's the English version of a mullet.
He's especially fun to talk to when he has been drinking after he is jet lagged.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's great. He gets so loud. He's a very loud Brit. Yeah, and he always likes to talk about hot-ins when he's had a few. It's ridiculous. It's like, dude, stop talking about hot-ins. That's all you do.
That's funny. Well, I mean, he's passionate about it, so.
Yeah, that he is. He's very passionate about it.
And, you know, that passion has created some pretty amazing products.
That is. I think I'm running primarily E3D on everything. I've got a sliced mosquito on one of my Perugias right now with a BMG from Bontech.
Yeah.
But other than that, I like the mosquito. The mosquito's not a bad hot end at all. I do find that it does ooze a lot more than the V6, but it also takes a lot less retraction.
Wow.
So like on a Perugia, the retraction's about 0.8 to 0.85, 0.9. On the mosquito is 0.4 if you're using a 0.4 hot end.
Wow.
You basically put whatever hot end size you're in as your retraction, and it's pretty much good to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah, I was being an idiot with it and going the other way because I was like, why is this thing oozing so much? Because I just kept all my V6 settings in there. It's like, this thing's oozing all over the place. So I just kept upping it and upping it and upping it. Eventually it was like 1.5 on the retraction. I thought that was way too far. And so then I went and started talking to them. They're like, oh, yeah, you really don't need much at all. They're like, what size hot end do you have? I'm like 0.4. And they're like, try 0.4. It's like, that low? Okay. They were right, though. Yeah. They know their hot end. I don't.
Well, they should.
Yeah, they really should.
And I would also like to know their hot end. Not a sponsor, E3D, but
they're all good hot ends. If it melts plastic and melts it consistently and has good tolerances,
yeah,
good hot end.
I definitely agree with that.
Just don't know if this motor's going to crap out on me.
So if somebody wants to contribute or donate, how will they do so for you guys, Joe?
Well, we've got the GoFundMe up. We need all the things. We need people who are willing to print, and we need people to donate if possible. The donations are all going to material, so we're not keeping any of it as like labor costs. It's all going to material. So the laser cut visors and PETG rolls for the makers who are making. We're trying to help our team as much as possible, not have to take as much out of pocket as they, because who knows? The PETG is like anywhere from 18 to $30 a roll. We found a lot of people who are willing to give us bulk discounts, and that's what we're trying to do, and then distribute the rolls out. So,
for those people who can print you things, how do they get the printed products to you guys?
So one thing that we are very insistent on and very passionate about is keeping everything organized. So whereas I'd love to say, hey, just start printing stuff and then throw it at me, we have to keep very specific specs and very specific sanitation chains in place. So that means that we all have to be on the same page. So we are using the website Monday to organize all the makers. And when you go into that site, you basically have already read the Getting Started document, which has all of the guidelines on it. What you need to have, how we're printing, what models we're printing. So if you go to maker.ppe4kc.com, and that's PPEFORKC.com, there's a sign up form, and you just go in there and you read the document. After you read the document, you say, I've read the document, and then it takes you through entering in some of your information and gets you going for Monday. There's also a contact.ppe4kc.com. That's for hospitals, clinics, and practitioners, nurses, anyone who needs the shields to contact us so we can get them on our list. And then there is donate.ppe4kc.com, which takes you to our GoFundMe. And if you go to just ppe4kc.com, that'll take you to our Facebook group, and you can get in plugged into the community there, because we're posting updates on that. That's kind of like our rally point is on the Facebook group. While we do all the, the hard work is in the back end, the celebration and the fun's in the front end in the Facebook group.
All right. Well, greatly appreciate that. I wanted to make sure that people were able to find it if they wanted to try to help out in any way that they can.
Can you hear my Z-axis?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you gonna put
I've always wanted to do that.
link in the description, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm gonna if you can, Joe, send me a bunch of that stuff and I'll put it all into the description below.
Sure.
And that way I just have all of it just loaded in there for anybody that wants to check it out and help out any way that they can.
Awesome. Yeah, we definitely appreciate anything and everything and anyone who wants to come beside us and help. Right now, we're, like I said at the beginning, we're concentrating on the smaller establishments and the roaming nurses and the clinics. But it hopefully won't get to the point to where Casey gets overran, but it's always a possibility. And if it does happen, then we want to be able to provide for hospitals as well.
Yeah.
Which we've actually got some Californians might actually help us there too. There's a lot of moving parts to this thing.
Oh yes,
That is
understandable.
Like I can say, my wife is a nurse, and luckily we're in an area that's not being nearly as affected as some of the other areas are. But I can tell you that they're grateful for the work that you guys are putting in. It's a dangerous job they have, and it's even more dangerous when they don't have the proper protective equipment. And so, it's something that I can tell you, my wife, at least, I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for my wife. I know that she's grateful for the work that you guys are doing and helping to ensure that, we keep our doctors and nurses safe in these, it's a scary time. So.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just handed just 4 shields off to there was a nurse who came over to the house to pick up 4 shields for her and her colleagues, and they just roam around the KC Metro putting in pick lines.
Yeah, I saw
for
you.
people who need IV.
I saw you post that earlier.
Yeah, it's crazy what they have to work with. Like they have nothing. They were double stacking surgical masks, which are not N95 masks, and they had no visors, so they were having to go into nursing homes, clinics, all this place, and expose themselves to this. So yeah,
I can't imagine. So
yeah, and I if I wouldn't send someone that I love into those places, then it's like I'm going to do what I can to protect the people who do have to go into those places, who don't have a choice. So
yeah,
so I can. It's what I got.
Yeah,
it's appreciated.
And it's wonderful that makers are donating their time, their filament, and their printers, and just everything that they can to help out with this. I mean, a lot of people have gone and say, well, 3D printers, that's only for knickknacks and this, that, and the other. To the extent that's true, but 3D printing has its role in the maker community for helping out.
Absolutely.
And just in general on making things more proficient on being manufactured. So for us to be able to jump in and help take care of people in need to keep them safe is awesome. So
yeah, I've always been a huge proponent of functional 3D printing. Like that's my bread and butter. Like everyone who wants to print all the pretty stuff, keep printing the pretty stuff. I mean, it's beautiful. My buddy Andrew, I work with him, and he also, is part of this effort as well. But he prints some of the most cool things I've ever seen, that are cool busts and models. He's printing one of the robots from Pacific Rim, but it's like going to be this big.
oh wow.
And that stuff's awesome. And I think that absolutely has a place. But at the same time, I think showing the practicality and functionality of 3D printing, I think that this particular time that we're in is really showcasing that what we have isn't just, like you said, for knickknacks, that it has practical applications. We're controlling the manufacturing. We have the tools to control manufacturing at home.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, that's really.
Okay.
I got into it for prototyping. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, and I love it for prototyping. I've designed the things. I fix things practically with it all the time. I've printed bushings from my mower. I've fixed my mom and dad's kitchen drawer with it. That little thing in the back that you can't ever buy, that you have to install. I've replaced 2 different pieces for that, because there's the piece that goes to the wall, but then there's the piece that actually goes into that sits on the track that I had to replace. So I like practical printing. This is a practical thing to do to help people out. So
my wife wouldn't let me buy a printer until I could prove to her that I could use it in a practical way. That was my very first printer. I was like looking at an ANET A8, and I was like, I need $160. How am I going to do this? And my wife was like, you're not going to get a little thing that you're just going to print little toys on. It's just not going to be worth it. And I was like, oh, but the practicality, baby. And it worked.
It was actually opposite, like in a way, because at first, like I didn't really have an interest in 3D printing. I had an interest in inventing, and I had drawn up specs for this thing that I was developing, and I started looking at tooling costs, and I was like, holy crap, to get something tooled for just a prototype is like $2,000. I was like, well, 3D printing's available now in the home. I should take a look. So I ended up buying a Hicktop Prusa i3 clone off eBay, putting it together and then playing around with it. And then by that time, I had completely forgotten about the little invention that I was making. And I've been off the rails ever since. Eventually, I'll get back to that. But like right now, it's just like I've got what?
So right on the other side, right down here on this shelf, I've actually got a prototype that I've worked on. I've not worked on it in a while, but 3D printing was the practicality of actually using it, and it works. So I need to make it more compact. It's like 8 inches tall.
But that's the beautiful thing about having a 3D printer in your home and not having to rely on tooling is iterations. You can pop out iterations like that.
Well, and you can do less infill to make it faster and easier.
So there's a company here in Kansas City, Altec, who for a while was using me to prototype their injection molded shield covers for their LCDs for their cherry pickers.
Yeah.
And so they would have me print it. At this time I was doing it on FT5, Folgertech FT5. And once they had their design refined and they were happy with it, then they would send it off and get it, tooled and printed, or not printed, but molded, injection molded. But, it saved them a ton of money just by having me print it off for them so they could iterate, reprint until they got exactly what they wanted. And that they didn't have to get it retooled each time.
Yeah.
So it has huge implications for the manufacturing process.
Well, and just like the little video Chris showed earlier of CMC, where those are things that you can 3D print, but they're injection molding it.
Mm-hmm. Which
pumps it out.
Like CMC, like Steve has just a really nice shop. So he's got CNC machines that he actually was using to cut the molds out, and then he's got the ability to process raw pellets and then injection mold them. So like just the fact that he has that in his shop is like awesome.
Yeah.
That used to be something that to the average person was more or less out of our grasp. And since the advent of the maker movement, all this stuff is getting slowly filtering into the consumer space. You look at something like SLA printing and SLS printing. Resin printers used to be something that only really were for the medical field. SLA printing was really only something for the industrial field. And now there are affordable ways to get into both. So it's just crazy. I hope it keeps going that way.
Oh yeah, me too, for sure.
Yeah, there's the new resin printers coming out now are $160 or something like that. Crazy.
Well, and you look at the Prusa SLA printer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beast.
The SL1, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
gosh.
The
thing that makes the SL1 really great is you can really stack it up against the Formlabs, which for a long time Formlabs was like the leader of consumer grade, and business grade SLA.
Yeah.
But they were winning thousands and thousands of dollars for their machines and for their cleaning kits. You can get a Prusa SL1 and the wash and curing station for under $3,000. Oh,
yeah,
and that's amazing. And
I mean, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. It's just really streamlined the process. It used to be really messy to deal with SLA printing, but now you just print it. You take the whole plate, put it into the cleaning station. It cleans it with iso alcohol. You take it off it. You put it in there. It cures it with UV. You're done, and you basically never touch the resin.
Which is awesome. And I know less than $3,000. I mean, just the thought of $3,000 for a resin printer, it's a lot of money. Yeah, it is a lot of money.
Yeah,
but
that's for the whole shebang. That's
it's for the whole process. Shebang. So, and that
used to be
that makes it nice.
$3,000 used to only get you the printer and the low ones. Like now you can get the whole thing. And if you look at like companies like Poly and the Moai, they and then they have their new one, the Phaser. Is it?
I think so.
The Photon.
Photon.
the big one.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, okay, so now we're scaling up the size, and it's still affordable. So you can print prints that you normally would print with FDM due to size constraints, but do it at a 0.01 layer height.
Yeah, make it super fine, so the finished product is just flawless, pretty much.
Oh yeah, you don't see layer lines. Like I've got the original Moai out in my garage, and it'll print at 75 microns.
Wow.
It'll print all the way down to 25 microns.
Oh wow.
Which is 0.025. And you just don't see the layer lines at that point.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
That's really cool.
Well, and the other thing about that, I mean, when with this type of 3D printing, you know, there's a little tiny bit of squish between the layers, you know, where you you have to have the plastic squished down on top of the layer before it, otherwise it doesn't adhere. Whereas you don't have that squish with SLA printing. And so even at taller layer heights, you still don't see the layers nearly as well as you will in this type of printing, because, you know, here, you know, right now I think I'm printing at like 0.17 layer heights or something like that. And I mean, if I printed at this same layer height, if it was possible with an SLA style printer, I probably wouldn't see any layers. You know, you're talking about, you know, 1/5 of a millimeter. You know how small that is? You know, you probably couldn't hardly see that anyways. But because of the way that the printer is designed and set up, it's just, the quality it's incredible.
You would see you would see steps. So if you had a round object that did that, you would see the steps as it went up. I do know that, because even at 0.025, you still see steps at the top of objects. But yeah, if you're looking at it just profile, layer lines are pretty much invisible.
Oh yeah.
And even with like SLS, you know, powder resin. Oh man, if I could get one of those, they produce amazing parts. Like all the Bondtech stuff, that's all SLS printed.
Wow.
And man, I would just print so much crap out of that. It's got to be expensive and messy.
Oh, I bet. So, all right, fellas. Well, that is our show. I need to wrap it up. It's
bedtime
now, 11:15.
Work time for you.
9:15.
Well,
oh man.
Oh yeah, Mister. It's only 10 o'clock here. It's actually 11 o'clock there.
9:15 right now.
Yeah.
So, but thank you everybody for coming on and being in chat. And Joe, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it. We will catch you all next week on Chris's channel. This little guy down there. So until then, everybody, happy making. Take care. And anything you need to find for the stuff that he's doing and everybody else will be in the description here in just a little bit. Bye, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye. Take care.